Right. We are live. So Pam, I mean, we've already had a great conversation so far. I'm excited to keep it going
We have.
with those joining in. First of all, I want to thank you so much for joining in. You are our very first, well, first of all, this is our very first, Ecologel's very first live session.
Yay.
So that makes you our very, very first.
I am honored. I'm honored. Yes. Yeah, we got a few people here in the chat. Hey.
Yeah, we do. My screen there. The other one wasn't muted. I just noticed, so it was getting some feedback. So
okay, gotcha.
Hi, India. Thank you so much for joining us. Excited to see you there. Lawn Radiance, hello.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming by and hanging out.
So we were chatting before we get into, some of the more formal lawn care things. We were chatting just a few minutes ago, and PJ and I just realized that we are both getting puppies in the next week. So I'm going on Saturday to get a brand new puppy. My 7-year-old son has been begging us for a dog for 2 years.
Yep.
And PJ is getting another dog to add to the family. So a really funny coincidence.
Yes. And I think that's cool. I think dogs bring so much extra to the family. It's amazing. I wasn't always a dog person, but I totally am now.
Oh, that's great. Yes, he's been begging, and we were like, and of course during like COVID would have been a great time because we were all home. So
right.
But he was 5, and I was like, "You're not ready." And I have, I had a brand new baby too, who's now 2, and so we were like, do we want another thing to take care of? But he's ready now, so we're very excited to go pick up the dog this weekend.
Yes, it's exciting. Yep.
Now you said you're getting a
Bernedoodle, which I'd never even heard of a Bernedoodle before. We have to stick with the doodle situation for allergy reasons, because my current dog is a Labradoodle. So, yeah.
And we're in the same. So we're going with the hypoallergenic, the allergy scenario but on the Bichon side.
Yes.
They're supposed to be low shedders getting the Cavachon. But what's the other half of the Bernedoodle? Because I've never heard of that either.
A Bernadese, some type of Bernard. My wife found the dog. So I can't tell you. She does the training with the dog. She does all the stuff with the dog. So yeah, I'm like some type of Burmese dog. I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
So will it be big like the Labradoodle, or?
About the same size. So my current dog is about 50 pounds, and this one will be around the same or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
so we have to get. So that's an excuse to get a bigger house, because now we're gonna have 2 dogs.
So does bigger house mean bigger lawn?
Not for me. I actually love the size of my lawn. I am just under 6,000 square feet right now, right at like 5,800. And that's perfect for me. I love maintaining just that. If it was an even 5,000, I'd be a happy camper.
Excellent. We got a couple more friends in the chat. Meister of my lawn. Hello.
Yeah.
Sprucing up GA. Hello.
Hey, that's Joy. Yeah, she enjoyed the Hydretain and the hat as well. I think she said her husband took the hat from her.
Well, we'll have to get you another one then.
Yeah. So yeah.
So speaking of, your lawn being the right size for you, I was watching another video that where you were a guest, and you shared sort of how you fell into lawn care a bit out of necessity. You want to share that story with us again today?
Yeah. So, I am now 4 years into this, and almost a year into the business, but basically, moved into a new house and had to, based on budget issues, we had to decide whether we wanted to do pest control or lawn care. And obviously having young kids, I think they were like 4 at the time. I didn't want to take that chance with pest control chemicals that I wasn't familiar with. So I went with the lawn. I was like, okay, I just, put on my big girl pants, and I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this done. I'd never taken care of a lawn ever. So it was a lot of reading. It was, like a lot of people in the lawn care community, I stumbled onto Alan Hayne. And that was all she wrote. That's all I needed. And I watched all of his videos, and yeah, and now I'm here. So
you just got hooked right there.
I did. Absolutely. I got hooked. And, you know, you definitely get hooked when you first see the results. That's what gets you. Like, you're like, I did that. Like,
that's sense of pride. I accomplished this. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I tell my son that story a lot when it comes to gardening. So we did a similar situation. When we moved into this house, the house was built in 89, and it just needed a lot of updating, and the landscape was, overgrown. And we've been tackling projects a little bit at a time, but we made the same choice. We went for the inside pest control service. And then being in the industry myself, I also kind of had that sense of, okay, I need to know a little bit about what I'm doing. Right. I need to have some, hands in the dirt, hands-on experience with this.
Absolutely.
So we did very similar. We got an answer on the Bernedoodle as a
Burmese mountain dog. There you go, Lawn Radiance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we made a very similar choice, and now I don't have a green thumb though. Like I just don't, which is, again, I'm in the industry and I just don't. But I do like to garden. I have a section of my lawn that I've converted over. It just was not functional lawn space at all.
Yeah.
The way it was laid out. So it's been converted into more of a pollinator garden. And so I was telling my son that the other day, weeding the garden. He's like, I don't want to pull weeds. I don't want to do it. Weeding the garden creates such that sense of it's chaos, and then it becomes organized. And it's just such a great feeling to go from, I went out there and it was a hot mess, left, and now it looks great.
That's great. Yep. Know that feeling. Yep.
So doing your own lawn care is definitely an entirely different experience from going from that to becoming a content creator and becoming an influencer. How did you take that next step? What made you want to get into sharing what you were doing with other folks?
Well, it's really interesting. I'm an introverted person, but that doesn't mean I'm antisocial. I have a preference for how I want to socialize, and it's typically via video, apparently. And that's something that I learned about myself, and I think too, it's, as I began to do it more, and I am one of those people that I like to perfect my craft. And so you have neighbors and they're walking past and they're asking questions, and I love answering the questions. I love, so I was like, it's nice to share this. It's nice to have something to talk to people about that you really have a passion for. And so it became that, because I had people messaging me and things, asking me questions. I was like, hey, I'm just going to put this on a video. So see who else it can help, so it morphed into that. And I really enjoy it. I enjoy the content creation part of it. The video creation is great. My family, maybe not so much, because I spend hours and hours and hours in the office getting videos ready. But, I really do enjoy that a lot. And in last year, when I started the business, I actually started it with the intent of doing lawns and servicing lawns. And I had a few clients, but I quickly realized that that's not the direction I wanted to go in. It's not suitable for me. I am more now lawn consulting, basically just hand holding and walking people through step-by-step DIY. And of course, the content creation and the social media and the influencing, that all helps with, support the channel and things like that. So that's kind of where it stands at this point.
The educator, it was that part of it that it sounds like what I'm hearing is what you really enjoyed about it, which is great.
Yeah. Alan Hain called me, he said, and this was the first time I heard the term, and I 100% agree with it. He's like, you're a journey YouTuber. And that's how I started. I'm sharing my journey, but eventually it's going to morph into more of an educator as I get more comfortable with things and so.
That's a great term. I haven't heard that before, but I really enjoy and appreciate that term, and having watched your videos, can relate to that. And speaking of, You do a great job where your videos, I think the longest on your channel is 10 minutes. I mean, they're just so fabulously digestible, which I love.
I get mixed feedback on that. I have some people who want me to do longer videos, and then some people enjoy the shorter. I'm not the person, I can't stuff a video. That's my problem. I can't extend it. And there's really no need to. I like to get straight to the point and then go, so.
And it's different. I mean, there's some folks out there that do long videos and do a fabulous job with those too. I just am amazed at what you're able to get in with, you watch it and you're like, all that? It was 2 minutes? Wait, what?
Just 2 minutes. Yeah.
You mentioned kind of the doing this with the family, and that's the challenge, right? We talked about that whole concept of being a content creator. And as we were chatting earlier, just what it takes, we've been throwing up a ton of content this month with April being, National Lawn Care Month, and just the energy that it takes to create that content. How do you find that balance? How do you manage?
Well, honestly, I'm still working on the balance. And the family understands, I'm trying to build, the business, build the company. But as far as my own personal lawn care, I'm looking for alternatives and things to keep me, because I can go out there and I'm out there for 4 or 5 hours. That's a very long time to be away from everybody. I mean, I enjoy it, but it's still a long time to be away. So I'm looking for solutions that are, going to help me not spend as much time. Higher bricks being one, just a type of fertilizer that I'm using, because it's, just 3 months feeding as opposed to going out there every month. There's things like that to kind of cut back on the time. But yeah, I'm still working on that balance. I'll get there.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's tough in any hobby and business. I have a home office, and we were just talking about that. I had to close and lock the door because at some point the kiddos are going to come home and they would want to walk in. So it's a hard thing to manage, trying to find that balance between our hobbies and our businesses and the kiddos and the family. So speaking of, National Lawn Care Month, as it mentioned, we've been highlighting sort of, benefits that lawns provide. And I know, you touched on when we were talking earlier that discussion of the dual meaning behind the concept of sort of it's just grass, and how that can be seen very positively, and that can be seen very negatively. Do you want to kind of share what your thoughts were on that it's just grass conversation?
Well, obviously we don't want any bad blood over grass, because it is just grass. So, but on the other hand, it's so much more than that to so many people. I've talked to so many people who say that this is a form of therapy for them. It is for me 100%. And so I think the disconnect, or where there should be, or where there needs to be more work, is just understanding your environmental responsibility when it comes to, lawn care. So it's 100%. I mean, I've been looking at you guys as content that you're putting out this month. I've learned a lot about Hydretain, just understanding, the environmental impacts of the chemicals that we're putting down. I think it's super important.
Absolutely. And, lawns often get a bad rap, right? There's that, especially in parts of the country where water is a more limited resource, or, more costly resource. They tend to sometimes get flack for being, a waste of those resources. And so one of the comments that gets thrown out there a lot is that, lawns don't waste water, people waste water.
Yeah.
So, we're working to try to help change the narrative of what the perception is around lawns, and, try and just get people to understand that, that lawns have so many great benefits that they provide. To your point, lawn care is therapy. It can be a fantastic stress reducer. One of the notes we put up earlier this week was that like a 5,000 square foot lawn can produce enough oxygen for 14 to 34 people. I mean, that's crazy.
That's insane.
But when you think about those urban areas, where we just don't have very big lawns, how important that is.
Right.
So many benefits, and reducing runoff.
Mhm.
You know, being able to, we have some great photos of turf next to flower beds, where after heavy rain, you see no runoff coming off of the turf. Flower beds are just everything's just kind of washing out of them.
Mhm.
They help support the microbial populations. They help sequester carbon.
Yeah.
I just saw one of the things we put up. We learned this month, the Lawn Institute, guys. The Lawn Institute is an awesome resource for lawn facts. But one of the things we learned was that on sort of an average half-acre lot that had a lawn and trees and flower beds, it was, I think the statistic was 81 to 90% of the carbon sequestered from that property was by the lawn.
Wow.
So great things they do for us. So,
I would be interested to see how they measure that, honestly. Some things we may never know, but that's just one of those things, I'd like to know how they measure that.
I would too. Yeah. I know that they've been doing some modeling off of, looking at the way different types of plant materials sequester carbon, and then modeling based on space. But what, you mentioned therapy. What do you find is what's the most important benefit to you that lawns provide?
So obviously, I am more of a nature person, and just that connection, growing up, I never thought. My dad was always out in the lawn. He was always doing it. And everybody's like, why is he out there? What is he doing? But like, that has to be boring. Like, I don't want to do that work, but it was the culture. It was the society that, my brother didn't want to do it. And then, so I was a female, so they didn't even ask me. But I think had I picked up on it way back then, it would have been beneficial in my life, helping me to learn to just kind of center. And, that's really why I push to get more girls into it. Because I know the benefits from a female perspective, thinking about what women have to deal with on a daily basis, typically, or, the social norm of, doing most of the things in the house, taking care of the kids and those types of things. Well, if they just get out in the lawn, I think they could deal with those things a little bit better, because you can internalize and just absorb some of the benefits that what you see in front of you are offering, and that's really my perspective, is the nature perspective of it. I'm still learning about, the other environmental benefits and those types of things. So.
Excellent. That's a good segue into the next, section of our conversation. But I did want to acknowledge we've got some other folks that have joined us. So hello, the lawn lover and Motivated Moments. Good evening. Good to see you.
He got some Hydretain. He beat it up a little bit, but I don't know if he saw his his story, but he was doing a box opening, and that thing was flying all over the place. He's like, oh
my gosh,
Hydretain, yes.
No, you know what? I missed that one. I'll have to see if we can go back and we just said it was a story.
Yeah, it was a story. It may have been a post, because I saw it again today, actually, and I shouldn't have seen it again today. So it may have been a post.
All right, we'll have to go back in and see if we can take a look at that one.
Yeah.
Lawn Radiance has shared, being responsible with what you apply, when you apply, and why you are applying it is a huge factor of fighting back all the negativity that people have against lawns. Have to be responsible. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so huge. And that goes to not even just what you apply, but how you handle clippings and when you're blowing. And I live my property, the storm drain is right in front of my property, so I have to be really careful about where we blow our clippings and just doing applications along the devil strip.
Yeah, and a lot of people are not aware of that, because I see throughout the neighborhood people just kind of blowing clippings around and just not understanding, because a lot of the people in my neighborhood have services that come out and treat. And so, after they leave, it's not completely 100% cleaned up, but and those things end up in the street. So, and I will be the first to admit that that's something that I learned within the past 3 years. I had no idea. But now I have a vacuum, and I just get all the extra stuff up with the vacuum. So
awesome. My 2-year-old he's obsessed with the blower. So my in-laws got him a child size blower for Christmas.
Does it really work?
It kind of works. I mean,
Okay.
it's like just barely kind of blows on you.
Yeah.
But he still, he'll pick it up and play with it. He still goes back to the full size, and he's this, 2-year-old, and he'll pick up the full size blower and be trying to walk around with it. It's real cute.
And that's what I find with my kids too, my girls. I can get a good, if I have them out there individually, I can get about 15 to 20 minutes of help. But if they're out there together, it's not happening because they just fight. But even when they're helping, they don't want to do the things like help pick the weeds and things like that. They want the blower. They want the lawnmower. It's like, oh, you can't really do that. It's bigger than you.
Yes. Yeah. So he thinks he can. And so he does. I was going to ask you if the girls join you, what it's been like, now with transitioning into talking about women in lawn care, since that's been such an important part for you, carrying that through to your girls, and you kind of touch on that, getting them out there. And how they're taking to it. Yeah, one likes it more than the other. I'm sure the community knows which one it is. They see her a little bit more in my videos and things, but yeah, I think they really enjoy it. It feels great to me. Anytime, as a parent, anytime you see your kids enjoy something that you really enjoy, it just feels great. So yes, it does. So speaking of, women in lawn care, you just finished up the Women's History Month, the Ladies of Lawn Care series, which we really enjoyed being a part of. That was, that was a fun opportunity. But you've become a really strong advocate for highlighting women in the green industry in general and encouraging other women to get involved. And you just touched on a little bit of why, but can you share a little bit more about why that's become such an important initiative for you?
Being in the community, the community, the DIY community is great. And I'll tell anybody any day, and male, female, everyone's great. I just didn't see a lot of female representation out there. And I knew they were, we were around. And it just became an interest that, okay, well, I've seen some people on social media. No one else has seen them. So let me share, let me highlight, let's bring everybody out here and, kind of make it a more diverse community. And so that's what I did with my business. Ultimately, I hope that I make it to this goal, but ultimately I really want to get involved with maybe a local foster home or something like that, and have a program for girls. Take them out into the lawn, or even at the place where they're living, show them how to take care of the property and things like that. But of course, I have to build a little bit more with my business before I get to that point where I can donate my time like that. But that's the ultimate goal. I love it when I see little girls on Instagram, young girls enjoying it and getting into it. So I really enjoy that aspect of it.
That's excellent. And I know I've shared with you before, so I'm currently serving as the president of the Florida Nursery Growers and Landscape Association. And I was at one of our chapter meetings last week and learned that the association does a lot of training. This is a big focal point, trying to get different groups of labor opportunity. Labor is such a big challenge for our industry. On the professional side, that it's very difficult to get people to want to do the work. Yeah. And so they're really big into doing training, not only with high school students, but also with like second chance workers. And so I learned about a program that they're doing. There's a women's correctional facility in the Jacksonville area. And one of the correctional officers is doing certified training. So the women that come out when they've finished serving their term,
that's awesome. Yeah,
they come out trained.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's fantastic. So I was really excited to hear about that program. And hopefully there will be opportunities to do more of that, not only around our state but throughout the country.
Yeah.
And I had shared with you a little bit about, because obviously I'm a woman in the industry as well, but on the different side, on the different side of this. And when I first started with Ecologel, and many of you probably don't know this, but Ecologel is a family business. So,
which is awesome. I love that about your company.
Yeah. And I know several of the community members of the community have spoken with Rick. Rick is my dad. So he brought Hydretain into the United States. In 91, I was 5. I grew up with the company, and that all sort of happened as like a twist of fate. He was an entrepreneur, working in industrial coatings, got connected with an industrial coatings chemist in Australia who had developed Hydretain. Again, just a total twist of fate. Ended up finding about the technology, brought it to the United States, and started doing testing and working with it here. So I've been experiencing Hydretain since I was a little girl. And of course, then in that scenario, you grow up thinking, I do not want to do what dad does. here I am.
And there you are.
I had worked for him throughout high school, just different processes. At that point, we didn't have, our manufacturing facility didn't have the equipment to put product into the quart bottles. They just could do larger sizes. So I would go into the warehouse and fill and label quart bottles. Try and make some money over summer and weekends.
There you go.
And then worked in accounting and swore I was not going to have anything to do with this business. When I officially started as an adult, I got in and as a manufacturer's rep. And so I would go around the state and work with our distributors. And I was one of very few. I think there were only 2 other women as manufacturers reps when I started. And that has changed tremendously over the last 10 years, 12 years, which is great to see. And I was fortunate with my experience. I think part of that is, a lot of the folks that we worked with had already worked with my dad.
Right.
And so they kind of saw me as like an extension of they saw their daughters in me because they had spent time with him and respected him. I have friends in the industry who did not have such a great experience. Women who have been told things like, are you sure this is the career you want to get into? It requires nights and weekends, and that's not conducive to building a family.
Right.
Where they've been sort of judged, or worse, maybe worse. I don't know what's worse, but women who have been told that like they can't ride with a rep, because traditionally as manufacturer's rep, you go ride with a distributor rep and visit customers. They've been told from the distributor reps, you can't come ride with me because my wife will be mad about that. Oh,
wow. Okay.
Like, this is a professional environment.
It's a profession, right? This is business. Okay.
So I feel very fortunate about my experience. Again, have an opportunity now as president of FNGLA to hopefully, be an inspiration to other women getting into not only into the industry, but into leadership.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So, I just kind of shared some challenges that I know of women have faced, being part of the industry on the professional side. What do you feel like is the biggest challenge you faced as a female in lawn care?
Well, my biggest challenge, with the consulting business and building that, thankfully, my current clients and going forward, they trust me. They've come to me. I haven't pursued anyone. But in the situation when I first started and I talked to people that were sent to me, it was very frustrating to give answers and, talk to these people for hours on end, but know that they actually followed up with a mail to, verify my information that I gave them. And so that part is really frustrating, but I think I'm starting to get a really good feel for the community and the customers, the people that are coming to me, and the people who really want my assistance. So no more chasing clients. Everyone says it, your work speaks for you. And when people see that, then you really don't have to chase anyone for anything. So
they're coming to you now.
Yeah, they're coming to me. So I like it. I love it.
So on the flip side of that, what has been the best part of your journey so far, from getting into doing your own lawn to, again, this this big move to be, to becoming a content creator and an influencer to now becoming a consultant?
Well, the best part of the journey, honestly, has been when I think within the past 6 to 8 months is when I decided to have a laser focus on females in the industry. And that has been the best thing I could have done, because I'm learning so much from so many different people. I'm not quite a member of NALP, but I do keep up with them on Facebook and just kind of constantly communicating and learning from these people who are in the industry. That has been the most rewarding part. Just having someone, people on the same level and those types of things. So, and the more people I meet, the better it gets. Honestly, I'm not exaggerating. And almost every day I have a new inbox message from a new person, and it's great.
That is something that's really, fantastic. And we talk about the challenges of being a female in the industry, but in general, this industry, the green care industry, is just good people.
It is. I agree.
They become your family immediately. And that's the experience I've had from, again, with FNGLA, that community, our members. It's amazing when you have a community of competitors who are willing to share information with each other, who are willing to, have the attitude that, rising tides raise all ships.
I love that.
We don't see that in a lot of other industries. So it's nice to be part of that.
We absolutely don't. So yay.
So you mentioned NALP, NALP. Are you, of course, there was the big split, right? GIE.
Right.
Now the split into the two different shows, the Equip Expo and then the Elevate show, which is, so are you going to be making it to Elevate?
As of right now, I haven't planned to go this year. I think they're going to be this year, they're going to be in Florida. And then if I'm not mistaken, within the next year or two, they're going to be in North Carolina and Texas. So those two places, I definitely want to go. I'm still on the fence about this year.
Okay. Well, we'll have to see if we can do some convincing, because, of course, Orlando is my neck of the woods, with the Ecologel based in Ocala, which isn't terribly far. It's about an hour and a half drive from Orlando. So maybe we can round up an event.
Maybe.
With the community. So I'll have to start working on that. The wheels are turning now as we're having this conversation. And what's cool about that show, obviously it's the national, and they're coming to Florida, and we have the Florida Association. We have our show, the landscape show is in August. So it's a month before. And so they were really great as an association about reaching out to our association and wanting to make sure that they don't, cannibalize or take away from our event. So it's been a really good working relationship between the national and our state association as far as promoting both events. Yeah.
Awesome.
So you're
going to be busy.
Yes. We'll have to work on getting you down here. So you've been, an incredible, advocate of Hydretain. You've got your Hydretain hat on now. How were you first introduced to Hydretain, and when did you start using it?
Well, honestly, I actually just started using it last season. I am having some issues in the front part, which is the largest part of my lawn. Unfortunately, I've been having some issues over the past year and a half or so. And one of those issues has to do with my irrigation, not putting out enough water. It can put out enough if I run it for freaking 3 hours, but I don't want to do that. So I was like, okay, well, let's try this, moisture management and see if this helps. And it actually did help. I measured out my irrigation, and I know how much it puts out in a certain amount of time, but I've been able to cut back a little bit on that using Hydretain. So I learned from, was it Rick? I don't know if it was Rick or Jim. I don't know which one. I can't remember right now, but I did learn that, I think it was Rick, that it can be used year round. And I didn't know that. I only used it in the summer months to help out. But yeah, this year, my plan is to use it every 70 days, apply it every 70 days.
Excellent. So. We just put out a blog post this week is all running together at the moment, but I think it was yesterday. Yesterday, just put out a blog post about all the different benefits that Hydretain provides that go beyond water savings.
Right.
And I think that's one of those things, we promote, obviously, that's one of the huge environmental benefits is reducing the demand on our water resources. So we promote that, but that sometimes gets stuck with people then they're, in areas where water is cheap or they don't really have a dry season. There's kind of that maybe, or, to your point, the seasonality of it, I only need it during this time. And so we've been sharing a lot of the information about, water is so critical to plant management, and you can have a perfect nutrition program. You can have a perfect pest control program, but if you don't have water management, eventually one of those other two is going to fail.
Right.
And so we've been talking again a lot about just how water plays a factor in all biological processes. And with Hydretain, by converting that soil humidity back into plant usable water droplets and making moisture available to the plant for a longer period of time, minimizing those drought stress cycles has tremendous effects on, obviously, delaying wilt, the dry spots, that kind of stuff, protecting against the visual aspects of drought stress. But, it also helps keep a healthier plant. So, just like for us, when we're drained and tired and our kids have kept us up all night, or we've spent too much time working on our video and realize all of a sudden it's 1 a.m. and it's time to go to bed. Just like when we get stressed, we get more likely to get sick. Same thing happens for our plants. And so that's a great one. And
so I'm curious, I know I've seen in the news, and I can't remember which state it is right now, but there are seem to be a lot of states that are offering people benefits to not have a lawn due to, water conservation. Have you all been keeping up on that? And just curious if you're aware of those situations.
Very much cash for grass programs in different parts of, again, typically more out west. Although interestingly, here in Florida, and people think Florida is you typically think of it as a wet, wetter environment, getting plenty of rain. Colorado, right? There's cash for grass programs out there. We don't have them yet, but we have, unfortunately. There are a lot of attacks on the lawn, and that goes back to promoting the benefits that they provide. And that's one of the big reasons why we're so behind this April campaign, is we truly believe we've got the tools. Hydretain's a tool. There are so many great irrigation hardware components now that can help reduce watering requirements, or reduce water waste, rather. We have the tools for lawns to be enjoyable and to be environmentally responsible, especially given all of the other benefits that they provide. So those programs are ones that we keep our eye on and do what we can.
Yeah. Cool.
What's my favorite grass type? So, so I live in Florida, and that means that I'm cursed with. BJ, you were just on St. Augustine last week. It can be beautiful, but it's not fun to walk on. It's not fun to play on. So not St. Augustine. I have an interesting combination right now I'm playing with. I have Zoysia in my backyard, and St. Augustine in the front. So it matches, more of the neighbors, and it was pretty healthy in the front when I moved in. The back was a dumpster fire, so we ripped everything out and put in the Zoysia. And honestly, it's been a lot harder to maintain than is told, than
the Zoysia.
Talk about with it, the Zoysia,
yeah.
And I found that the lawn, I was working with a lawn management company, so we talked about that whole concept. We started with pest control. When I was pregnant with my second child, my husband was like, I just can't do the lawn too, with everything else that he was trying to help out with. And so we ended up hiring the company that was doing our inside pest control to do our lawn. That's pretty common here in Florida, not so much around the rest of the country, but there's a lot of crossover companies. And unfortunately, they did not know how to handle the difference between the St. Augustine in the front and the Zoysia in the back.
Wow.
Yes, crabgrass. Yes, crabgrass.
It's pretty though. It's a pretty grass. It's just like, yeah.
It is. I mean, when it's sharp and it's really well maintained, you drive by and you're like, whoa,
yeah,
look at that.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I don't know that I have figured out what my favorite grass is yet. I think it's probably a grass that doesn't grow in Florida.
So you might be out of luck because I don't think you plan on moving from Florida.
Not anytime soon. Cool season. Yeah, cool season, right?
Yeah, Motivated Moments. He's also in Florida. Yeah, his lawn looks fantastic.
Right?
I'm not sure if it's
life.
St. Augustine though.
What do you have? Motivated Moments. What's your?
Yeah, but I've seen it. Like he keeps it looking great. So whatever it is. When we were on vacation. Yeah, when we were on vacation, I touched it a little bit, but I didn't walk in it or anything because, at the resort, that's where people took their dogs to do whatever they need to do. And I didn't want to take any chances. So I just admired it from afar. So.
Yeah, it's just rough. Like it's not so my family, Rick actually is from Illinois. He grew up there and we still have family in the Chicago suburbs. And so as a kid growing up, we would go visit and it's just totally different. They're soft. You could lay on them. You don't feel all itchy when you get up.
Yeah. I have lots of pictures of me lying in the grass and people are shocked because I do have allergies, but I don't care. I take medicine. I'm fine. I'll lay in the grass, especially the back before we got the dog. I had the back looking the best that it's ever looked in life. And the kids and I would just go back there and lay and play in the grass. It was great.
Yeah, I'm in it all the time. And I'm the same way. We talked about the hypoallergenic dogs. As somebody who works in the green industry, I'm allergic to everything environmental. I went and had the scratch test done for to kind of find out what I was allergic to.
And you lit up.
Was everything. I lit up like a Christmas tree. It was everything. And I was like, wow, I picked the right place to be. But we play in it. We love it.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
If you have a recommendation for me, let me know.
Motivated Moments. Maybe I'm wrong as far as where he is because he's saying he has a fescue bluegrass blend. That can't be possible in Florida, can it?
not to my knowledge, but
I don't think so. But
what am I to say? I mean, if you've got it working, let me know what you're doing. I want to copy that program.
Okay, well, I could be off as far as where he is, but I really thought he was in Florida.
So we've obviously been talking a ton about lawns, but you did mention that you started using Hydretain in your veggie garden, or that you're going to start using Hydretain in your veggie garden this year. Have you used it on anything else yet?
I have not. When I sprayed the other day, I did put it in my my mulch bed, my shrub area. But I also put down the bloomplex there. There's some struggles in that mulch bed. So yeah, but no, I haven't used it anywhere else yet.
Okay. That is my favorite combination for my gardens and my veggies. Despite the fact that because of my non-green thumb, my husband tells me that I'm not allowed to touch the veggies. That's his responsibility. But I just tell him what to put on them. But my favorite combination is Hydretain, Cytogrow, and Bloomplex. Mix those three together, put it on everything, happy plants.
Yeah.
So Motivated Moments, North Florida. So North Florida, they get a little bit cooler. Actually, it's really amazing because my parents live in Ocala and I'm in Orlando. During the winter months, they can be like at least 10, we're an hour and a half drive from each other. They can be 10 degrees colder. They get more freezes and frost up there than I might have to cover things like one night of the year.
So
So
interesting.
it is amazing the difference between North and Central, even
Okay.
North Central Florida and North Florida and Orlando South.
Yeah, I'm learn something new. Fescue and bluegrass in Florida. Awesome.
So seriously, I want to know what you're doing though. Maybe give it a try. So you did mention the Bloomplex too. I'm so excited to see your results from
yeah
Bloomplex.
yeah I did a bad thing. I should have gotten a soil test before I put it in there, though. The reason I went with the Bloomplex is the high potassium, phosphorus and potassium. And I last year found out from my local nursery, one of my shrubs was dying, and I used some type of phosphorus on it, and it just kind of came back to life. But everything that I put in those areas seemed to struggle. So after, I'm going to give it 30 days. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a soil test and send that off before I treat it again with the Bloomplex. So,
okay. Yeah, that'll be interesting to follow and kind of find out what's going on there. And then, but also to see what you see out of Bloomplex within the next 30 days.
Yeah.
You'll see a kick.
Yeah.
It's
cool.
Everything, the whole pollinator garden. I had a camellia tree. It's a bush, but it's been here so long. It's a tree when I first moved in, and it was really sad from neglect. And I've been hitting it up with the Bloomplex. So this year I had the blooms were gorgeous.
Well, that's good to hear. Because I have a struggling arborvitae. We don't want to give up on it, but it's just struggling every year. So yeah, I'm interested to see how that works out.
Keep it going. So it would bloom. It would start to bloom, and we were just getting blossom end rot. They would just brown and drop off. And I was so thrilled to see them actually open this year and hang on as blooms. So I'm going to be keeping that up and working on getting it even more healthy. Yes, the freeze line runs through Ocala. It really does. It's like once you get right past that, then it's a huge drop. So we kind of started touching on this, the benefits of Hydretain. You're learning some more things about benefits that go beyond water conservation. Have you kind of figured out a kind of a favorite benefit that you're seeing so far out of it, or looking forward to that still with this season?
Yeah, pretty much looking forward to it this season with using it on a regular schedule and kind of paying a lot more attention to the results. So yeah, so far nothing yet that I can give you, but hopefully, I record everything. My camera's always out. So
good. So some things we've learned over the years with it that are kind of beyond that water conservation group to look for. So a couple of years ago, we had research done that shows that it increases nutrient uptake.
Okay, which is great.
Which is really cool. And there's a couple different theories there. One being that by keeping the plant out of drought stress, it's staying in more of a production mode, so it's more apt to take up nutrients. The other sort of being that you're maintaining channels of solubility. So nutrients that would otherwise be tied up in the soil are able to move from soil sites to the root hairs as Hydretain sort of pulling it along, as those molecules are being captured and drawn back together. So a couple different theories on that. We've had research that shows, or studies that have shown that it's helped to speed the colonization of mycorrhiza. So really cool benefit for soil health. Feeding soil, not only with the speeding the mycorrhiza, but we were also, keeping the moisture there for beneficial microbes. And as Hydretain breaks down, because it's biodegradable, you get that rough 3 months. You said 70 days for you. It's up to 3 months, can vary depending on your conditions. But as it breaks down, it provides a food source for soil microbes.
Okay, that's good.
So
it's a cycle. Very nice. Very nice. So Lawn Radiance has an interesting question for you.
As Ecologel private label for Bio Advanced, they have a product similar to Hydretain. That product being Lawn Root Moisturizer. I'm not sure how to answer that question. That would be a Rick question. So I'm going to defer that one. Lawn Radiance. That's a conversation for Rick out of our office. He'll be able to answer that for you.
Very cool.
So one of the last things I want to touch on, we've got a few more minutes of our time here,
Okay.
is we had sort of announced at GIE that we were working on an ambassador program. And you were one of the first people to pre-enroll in that program. Can you share a little bit more about, why you pre-enrolled and what you're looking forward to most about that?
Honestly, the why is, because obviously there's not a lot of information out on it, but I trust Ecologel. I trust that whatever programs you guys have is going to be something that's beneficial for the audience that watches me, and that I can provide, additional things to them. And that's really what I'm looking forward to, is to really understand how the program is going to work for the DIY community, giving back to them. I'm always looking for ways to kind of pay it down to the people that support me. So, and again, I really appreciate you all supporting GirlzLawn and the Women's History Month. And every single time I've spoken with anyone at the company, it's been a pleasant experience. And I can't say that for a lot of situations, but it's been pleasant. You all are, sincere, and it's a trustworthy company. So it was a no-brainer to just sign up for this program, even not knowing what we have in store. But I know there's gonna be some good stuff. So
yes. So I can share a little bit more with you all now, a little sneak preview. So the ambassador program, to your point, you just mentioned something that was really important, is you wanted to, pay it forward, pay it to those that are supporting you. And the whole idea for this program came out of what we have seen within the lawn care community, just being amazed at the level of support and passion and positivity that has come from this community. And so as we've been watching videos that you all have done, and thank you all for doing those, for sharing your experiences with Hydretain and with BioPro products and other Ecologel products, we thought, what can we do to as a thank you, as a to recognize those that are doing reviews for Hydretain or reviews for the BioPro line, or sharing their experiences, putting the product down, what they've learned about it, all of those good things. And so the whole concept with the ambassador program is to create a reward system for those that are putting out content on our products. So, for every video that's posted, there will be so many points, based on how many followers you have, that kind of thing. We're kind of working out all of those details in terms of how exactly the point system is going to work. But so for videos, for social posts, for referrals into the program, for testimonials, we'll be creating a point system, and then those points will be redeemable for product and swag, and we'll come up with some fun different things. Maybe along the way we'll be able to have an opportunity to turn those in for attendance at shows, getting somebody's badge into a show like Elevate or into GAE. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens here with the GAE and Elevate and how they perform. But so that's the whole concept behind the program. And then hopefully you all will stay tuned, because we're going to have a really exciting announcement about that program later this month with our live session with Alan. We'll be doing a live session with Alan Hain on April 22nd, which is also Earth Day.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
Yeah. And then we also have another live session for you guys to tune into. We'll have Brandon Mitchell from Turf Culture on with us on April 15th. Let me think about the date. April 15th at 3:00 in the afternoon. So cool season in Florida. Yes, that's worth some points.
To get some points.
That's worth some points. for sure.
Yeah.
So that about wraps us up for this evening, unless anybody else has any other questions for us.
Very cool. This was fun. I again, thank you for inviting me to do this. I'm honored.
Thank you again. I neglected to really share that because I was so excited about this being our first live, but really, y'all, PJ, like, shout out, because the patience, y'all know what it's been like when you've done your first live session, and there's the testing and the what platform is going to work and how are we going to go about this, and let's get the links up. And you've just been a patient saint.
Absolutely.
In being our first guest.
I enjoyed it. I love talking lawn, so it's great for me.
One other thing I wanted to ask about, I was sipping my tea while we were, and I kept thinking, gosh, I wish this was that Angry Orchard. What was it? Mango?
Peach mango.
Peach mango.
Oh, wow. It was amazing. I was surprised at the first sip. I was like, wow, what is this yumminess right here?
Yeah. So I saw that and I was like, I'm going to have to try that. I'm going to go find it. Motivated moments. Yes. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, let's figure out, that's maybe what I'm hoping to line up around Elevate, is the possibility for a manufacturing facility tour. So stay tuned. We'll see if we can get that lined up for you guys.
Nice. Well,
so you're going to come down for that, PJ?
I don't know.
Get you down here.
I'm still on the fence.
All right.
I will tell you this: if I do come, I am not driving. I'm never driving to Florida again.
I don't blame you after just making that trip with 2 6-year-olds.
Yeah,
that's the wild ride. So that was actually what got us started on the puppy conversation. Was we were talking about the trip, and I shared that we're doing a similar trip because we have to go to North Carolina to get the new puppy. And I have a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old. And so I decided I'm leaving them with my in-laws because we didn't want to make that trip overnight. It's going to be a quick up and back, not a fun, vacation. So, but you got to do the Disney thing.
We did. They met the Disney princesses, and all is well in the world.
Oh, good. Did they get to do, because Disney's been doing they haven't been doing the meet and greets with the princesses like up close. Did they get to experience
the boutique? They didn't get to do, and then they have a barrier between the characters and the kids. So, they didn't get the whole experience, but they were pretty excited. They were starstruck. They couldn't even talk. Trip? And they always talk, but they couldn't talk.
Was this their first trip?
No, we actually went there before, but we only went to Universal and Islands of Adventure. So we went to Magic Kingdom this time around. Yeah. My
7-year-old experience is similar. Like he's that kid that when he's home, you can't get him to stop talking. But he's shy. He's shy when he's out. And he was very much that way with meeting some of the princesses. It was like, I was like, man, I need to keep one of those in my back pocket. So when I just need you, right? Quiet moment.
Yeah. Very cool.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you all for joining us this evening. This has been a blast. PJ, thank you for being our first guest for a live event. And we're looking forward to the next one.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thanks. Have a good evening.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.